Let's get more reaction now to this decision, and joining us is Action SA's Athol Trollip. He is among the names, the 6 names that were announced today as serving on that Judicial Service Commission. Mr. Trollip, good evening to you and thank you for your time. Can we start with Action SA's attitude, or should we say position, on Dr. Hlophe, who now has secured a seat on the Judicial Service Commission?
Thanks very much, Corley. My colleague Lerato Mkubeni spoke and made a declaration on behalf of Action SA earlier in the day, and she implored upon Parliament to do the right thing, because representatives on the Judicial Service Commission, though they might be nominated by their nominating parties or groups of parties, don't serve the interest of their political party in that commission. They serve the interest of Parliament and therefore serve the interest of the people of South Africa. And their responsibility is to find the very best jurists to occupy the judiciary and to uphold the Constitution and do the right thing. So our position was that you cannot appoint somebody who, unless they are beyond reproach, and if they are not beyond reproach, then they're not suitable for appointment.
There are these very strong views for and against, and we've been listening to them now for some time. The understanding here, Athol Trollip, is that neither Parliament nor does the Constitution have a clear-cut position on candidates such as the situation that faces Dr. John Hlophe. Do you agree with that justification, that because there is no law, the rules of Parliament are silent on this, nor does the Constitution say what happens in a situation like the one that Mr. Hlophe finds himself in? Therefore, there isn't really a reason to object. In fact, in a way, paraphrasing what the ANC's justification is here, among other parties, of course.
Totally, I most certainly do not agree with that. And let me just tell you why. Firstly, ethics is about doing the right thing, whether there's a law that prescribes that or not. That's the first thing. The second issue is that there is a legal lacuna here in Parliament about whether somebody who qualifies to be a member of Parliament can then be excluded or disqualified from serving on a committee of Parliament. Now, that is a lacuna that we in the Rules Committee have asked the parliamentary advisors, the legal team of Parliament, to come up with a position on that, because it's not only Judge Hlophe who has been impeached and who serves in Parliament. The former Public Protector, Ms. Mkhwebane, also serves in Parliament in the benches of the EFF, and she too was impeached. So it's not unique, and it's also not unique internationally. We see in America, one of their presidential candidates was impeached no less than twice during his term of office, and he's standing to be elected as the President of the United States again, Donald Trump. So this is a legal lacuna that we're going to have to deal with. And what I find really interesting about the Parliamentary Ethics Committee is that it states very clearly in their work that whatever you do before your election is not considered by the Ethics Committee once you're elected. So here's the thing, Tolly, if you were impeached because of ethical impropriety before you became elected as a member of Parliament, the Parliamentary Ethics Committee can do nothing about that. And if your impeachment is not precluded by the Constitution or the rules of Parliament and you become a member of Parliament, then there's nothing that prevents you serving on a committee of Parliament. But as I said at the outset, ethics is about doing the right thing all the time, whether there's legislation that prescribes what is wrong and right.
The Democratic Alliance arguing very strongly that this decision will have the effect of paralyzing the JSC from conducting its work. If you agree with that assessment of the DA, in what form would the likely paralysis manifest?
Well, look, I'm not here to represent the position of the Democratic Alliance. They'd be best suited to do that themselves. They've already put out a social media statement saying that only they objected to the appointment of Judge Hlophe. It's patently untrue. But what might happen, and it was posited today in the declarations, was that some candidates in the Judicial Service Commission who might be presenting themselves to be appointed to the judiciary might take exception to Mr. Hlophe being on the panel doing the assessments. Now, I can't speculate on what might or might not happen, but if it does, it certainly will end up being a problem, and it might slow down or prevent the Judicial Service Commission from doing their work properly. That is why we as Action SA said and appealed to Parliament to do the right thing and appoint only people that are beyond reproach. And it is quite clear in this matter that Mr. Hlophe is not beyond reproach. He was impeached by this Parliament, and there were previous issues that held him away from his position of work for many years. And, there were issues of impropriety other than trying to influence judges in the Jacob Zuma case. So Mr. Hlophe has got a checkered career, and his ethical values or compass is certainly under the spotlight. And we don't believe that he is beyond reproach. Therefore, we do not believe that he should be serving on this committee. But here's the issue. The Commission is represented by a representative from various political parties, the ANC, the DA, Mkhonto Wesizwe Party, the EFF, and then all the other parties that are in opposition. Now, I was nominated from the group of all the other parties, and I'm very happy to have accepted that nomination, and I'm happy to serve in this Judicial Service Commission. Mr. Hlophe was nominated by his party, and his party has the right to nominate him. Whether he's suitable or not is a matter of debate, but he was nominated by his party. They have the right to nominate one person onto that committee by virtue of their proportional strength.
And as you put it, Mr. Trollip, that Mr. Hlophe was impeached by the very same Parliament, and that decision came after he was found guilty of gross misconduct by the Judicial Service Commission, in which he will now serve in. Who's to say? It's a hypothetical question, and perhaps it's one that he is better suited to respond to, but who's to say that he may not have an axe to grind?
Look, that is hypothetical, as you say, and I'm not probably the right person to answer that. But, I've heard some of the statements by Mr. Hlophe on his swearing in Parliament, where you swear to uphold the Constitution of this country, and he was saying that the Constitution needs to be changed. It needs to be Africanized. And we have a very well-known Constitution that is revered and respected around the globe. And we're very, very concerned about people who want to tinker and tamper with that and change it to suit their own agendas. But, Mr. Hlophe, many of the proponents for him today spoke about his legal qualifications. Legal qualifications are not the criteria to serve on the judicial service. Well, that might be one of the criteria. I'm not legally trained. So therefore, it cannot be a criteria, an exclusive criteria. And there's no doubt that he's very well qualified. And some of the people who are promoting him spoke at length about his legal qualifications. That's not the issue. The issue is to serve on a committee, to represent Parliament and the people of South Africa, to find the best jurists to serve on the bench in South Africa, to make sure that our Constitution is protected and that all the provisions of the Constitution are allowed to unfold in the interest of every citizen of South Africa. That's the responsibility of the Judicial Service Commission, not to represent a political party or to grind an axe or to go and serve personal interests there.
Athol Trollip, thank you very much for your time. Now we can refer to you as a commissioner on this very Judicial Service Commission we are talking about. He is among the 6 from Parliament who will be serving on that commission. And I must say this, it is an invitation to Dr. Hlophe. If he does feel that his reputation is somehow impugned as a result of this conversation, this is an open platform to you, sir. You are welcome to pick up the phone and join us. We'd love to have you on this show.